For years, everyone looked up to Rob Reiner and his wife Michele as the perfect Hollywood couple with a happy family life that seemed unbreakable. They lived in a nice home in Brentwood, Los Angeles, with their 4 children, and from the outside, everything appeared full of love and peace. Rob was a famous director known for classic movies like When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and A Few Good Men. He always put his family first, even with a busy work schedule. Michele was a talented photographer and producer who supported him in life and career. Together, they raised Tracy, the adopted daughter from Rob's first marriage, to Penny Marshall, and their 3 biological kids, Jake, Nick, and Romy. The family often had warm gatherings and shared joyful moments that made people envy their close bond. Rob was seen as a caring father who guided his children with kindness and made time for them no matter what. Michele brought gentleness and strength to the home, creating a safe space for everyone. Public stories painted them as a model family where love flowed easily and problems stayed far away. Neighbors and friends described their house as filled with laughter and support. Rob often spoke about how his children were his greatest joy and how he valued family above fame. This image lasted for decades, making their life look like a real Hollywood fairy tale come true. But on December 14, 2025, all that changed in a sudden and terrible way. That afternoon, authorities responded to a call at their Brentwood home and found Rob and Michele dead from stab wounds. It was ruled a homicide right away, shocking everyone who knew them. The news spread fast across Hollywood and beyond, leaving people in disbelief. How could such a peaceful family face this kind of violence? Police started investigating immediately and soon focused on their son, Nick. He was arrested that same day near the University of Southern California and booked on suspicion of murder. Sources close to the family said the attack happened with a kitchen knife, turning their safe home into a crime scene. Michele died quickly from blood loss, and Rob tried to help, but was also fatally wounded. Their youngest daughter, Romy, arrived home around 3:30 in the afternoon, discovered the bodies, and called the police in total shock. This discovery left her with deep trauma that experts say could last a long time. At first, many thought the arrest of Nick would wrap up the sad story quickly. People mourned the loss of Rob, a Hollywood icon at age 78, and Michele at around 70. Tributes poured in from stars and fans, remembering Rob's funny roles and great directing. Friends called them kind and inspiring people who made the world better. But as days passed, family members began to speak out, sharing more about hidden struggles. Tracy, the adopted daughter, told reporters she was still in shock, saying she came from the most wonderful family and had just seen her dad recently. She described Rob and Michele as the best parents who taught honesty and love. Other siblings like Jake and Romy stayed quieter at first, asking for privacy in their grief. The family released a short statement through Romy to a magazine, saying they were deeply devastated and needed time alone. The tragedy highlighted how even famous families can hide pain behind a perfect picture. Rob had always been open about prioritizing his kids, sharing stories of bonding trips and daily care. With Tracy, he treated her fully as his own, offering protection and talks about life. Jake shared baseball passions passed down from grandfather Carl Reiner. Romy got lots of listening and hugs from both parents, but hints of deeper issues with Nick started to emerge in reports. He had faced long battles with addiction and mental health, something the family tried hard to handle privately. This added layers to the heartbreak, showing that love alone sometimes could not fix everything. Hollywood reeled from the loss, unable to accept that a once-admired family ended this way. Police confirmed Nick as the main suspect, holding him without bail on double murder charges. Forensic details matched a household knife found at the scene. The case moved to prosecutors, who considered serious charges, including possible death penalty, though no decision came yet. As mourning continued, questions lingered about what led to such an explosive moment. The night before, at a holiday party hosted by Conan O'Brien, witnesses saw tension between Rob and Nick, a public argument full of anger and old hurt. Rob reportedly said he could not keep protecting his son if things stayed the same. That moment felt like a warning sign to some guests. Overall, this event marked the darkest chapter for a family long seen as strong and united. It reminded everyone that behind closed doors, even the happiest homes can carry unseen burdens. The public shifted from simple sadness to understanding the complexity of family pain, addiction, and regret. Rob and Michele's legacy in films and kindness remained, but now mixed with this unbearable ending. Their children faced a future without parents dealing with loss and public scrutiny. The Brentwood house, once full of life, stood quiet, surrounded by memories both good and tragic. As Christmas lights faded, the world reflected on how quickly peace can turn to sorrow, leaving countless unanswered why questions behind. This story of a dream family shattered by violence captured hearts everywhere. It showed the fragile side of life, no matter how successful or loving someone appears. Rob Reiner left behind timeless movies that brought joy to millions, while his personal story ended in profound grief. Michele, too, remembered for her quiet support, and talent added to that legacy. Together, they built something beautiful that a single horrific day could not fully erase. Yet the pain for their surviving children, Tracy, Jake, Nick, and Romy, ran deep, changing their lives forever. Friends and fans hoped for healing over time, while the investigation continued, seeking full justice. In the end, it stood as a reminder to cherish family bonds and seek help when shadows grow too dark. Rob Reiner loved all his children deeply and showed it in different ways that fit each one. He treated his adopted daughter Tracy with full respect and care, just like she was his own from birth. They shared quiet talks about life and work where Rob always listened and offered strong support. He told her she was strong, but he would always be there if she needed him. Those moments made Tracy feel safe and loved growing up. With his oldest son, Jake, Rob built a close bond over their shared love for baseball, a passion passed down from grandfather Carl Reiner. Father and son visited many major league stadiums across the country, creating happy memories full of laughter and lessons. Rob often said those trips helped him connect deeper with Jake, teaching family values through simple games. He even admitted learning things from his son, showing real respect. For the youngest daughter, Romy, both parents gave extra attention and warmth. Rob spent time hearing her dreams, worries, and small disappointments, always with open arms and kind words. He promised to stand by her no matter what, filling her life with security and affection. But the relationship with Nick, the middle son, felt completely different, filled with tension, pain, and worry from early on. Rob tried to love Nick with patience and hope, but it often turned into fear and helplessness. Nick did not grow up smoothly like his siblings, instead facing rebellion and emotional struggles that kept the family on edge. A clear distance existed between father and son, with few shared interests or easy talks. Rob valued structure and traditional ways, while Nick showed early signs of instability, pulling away more over time. Late nights, Rob waited silently for Nick to come home, staring at the clock and wondering what he could do better as a dad. When Nick reached 15, drugs entered his life, starting with heroin and cocaine, leading to a long, hard addiction. He went through rehab centers more than a dozen times, faced homelessness in different states, and came close to death many times. Each crisis broke Rob and Michele's hearts, leaving them scared and exhausted. In trying to help, Rob once followed expert advice, using tough love by forcing rehab and stopping money support. He thought it would push Nick to face reality and change. But years later, Rob called this his biggest regret, saying they trusted professionals too much instead of listening to their son. He felt guilty for making the gap wider during those dark months. As a result, fights grew louder, silences lasted longer, and old hurts built up, making peace feel impossible. Nick spent years on the streets, refusing to come home, while parents worried daily if he was safe or even alive. This constant pain wore everyone down, changing the father-son bond into something fragile and broken. A small light appeared in 2015 when they worked together on the movie Being Charlie. Rob directed, and Nick co-wrote the story based heavily on his own addiction experiences, making the film forced honest talks, sometimes with yelling, but also real understanding for the first time. Rob later said those tense moments helped him see Nick's suffering clearer. Nick agreed it mended some cracks, letting them connect better. After that, Nick had longer sober periods and even lived in the family guest house, showing progress. But deep mental health issues and relapse risks stayed hidden, ready to return. Michele told close friends they tried every option but felt tired in body and mind from the endless fight. Just one day before the tragedy, on December 13, 2025, Rob and Nick attended a Christmas party hosted by Conan O'Brien. What started as a festive night turned tense fast. Guests noticed the father and son arguing openly with raised voices full of anger and disappointment. Rob scolded Nick for actions he saw as wrong, his words heavy with frustration. Nick responded strongly, eyes red and words full of years of built-up hurt. The room went quiet as people felt the deep unrest. In that heated moment, Rob said he could not keep protecting Nick if this life continued, then walked away. Many who saw it later called it a sad warning sign, feeling the final hope slip away. Christmas Eve passed in heavy silence, with no warm family moments, only cold looks and unspoken pain. This set the stage for the heartbreaking events that followed, turning love into irreversible loss. Christmas time is meant for family joy, warmth, and togetherness, full of lights, laughter, and hope. But for the Reiner family, December 14, 2025, brought only darkness, horror, and irreversible loss. That Sunday afternoon, everything changed forever when police rushed to the beautiful Brentwood home of Rob Reiner and his wife Michele Reiner. Their youngest daughter Romy arrived around 3:30 in the afternoon for what she thought would be a normal visit. Instead, she walked into a nightmare, finding her parents lying motionless, covered in blood from multiple stab wounds. She called emergency services right away, her voice shaking with shock as she tried to explain the unthinkable scene. Paramedics arrived quickly, but could do nothing. Rob, aged 78, and Michele, aged around 70, were already gone, pronounced dead at the spot. The once peaceful house turned into a grim crime scene, with no signs of forced entry, meaning someone familiar likely did this terrible act. Investigators from the Los Angeles Police Department moved fast, treating it as a homicide from the start. They searched the home carefully, collecting evidence and talking to family members. Reports say the attack happened with a knife, possibly from the kitchen, turning everyday items into weapons of tragedy. Michele suffered severe wounds that caused fast blood loss, ending her life quickly. Rob, hearing the noise, ran to help his wife, but faced the same violent fate with fatal stabs to vital areas. The whole event unfolded in chaotic, terrifying minutes, leaving behind a trail of blood and shattered peace. Forensic teams confirmed the wounds matched a sharp blade found at the scene, supporting the brutal details emerging. Nick Reiner, the 32-year-old son, became the focus almost immediately. He was not home when Romy arrived and had left sometime after the attack, according to sources. Police tracked him down that same evening, finding him near the University of Southern California, about 15 miles away in the Exposition Park area. Officers arrested him without any resistance around 9:15 at night. By early Monday, he was booked on suspicion of murder and held without bail in county jail. Prosecutors later charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder, adding special circumstances for multiple killings and use of a deadly weapon. These serious charges could lead to life in prison without parole, or even the death penalty, though no final decision came yet on that path. The news hit Hollywood and the world like a thunderbolt, leaving everyone stunned and grieving. Rob, a beloved director and actor known for timeless films, left behind a huge legacy of joy and storytelling. Michele, his partner for decades, brought her own talent as a photographer and producer, supporting him quietly but powerfully. Friends, stars, and leaders poured out tributes, calling them kind, inspiring, and devoted to family and causes. Yet this violent end overshadowed the good memories, raising painful questions about hidden struggles. Family sources revealed Nick had long battled severe addiction, starting in his teens with drugs like heroin, leading to rehab stays, homelessness, and near-death moments. He lived in the guest house on the property, showing some stability, but mental health worries grew recently, especially for Michele. Just the night before, on December 13, the couple attended a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's home with Nick. Witnesses described tense moments with arguments and strange behavior from Nick, upsetting guests and embarrassing his parents. Rob expressed deep frustration, saying he could not protect his son forever if things did not change. That confrontation felt heavy, like a final breaking point, carrying years of worry, pain, and failed attempts to heal. This tragedy closed a long chapter of family efforts to overcome addiction shadows. Rob and Michele tried everything from tough love to open support, even making a movie together in 2015, called Being Charlie, based on Nick's experiences, hoping it would bring understanding. Some healing came, but underlying issues lingered, ready to explode. Now, with Nick facing trial, the surviving children Tracy, Jake, and Romy deal with double lost parents gone, and a brother accused. Romy especially carries deep trauma from discovering the bodies, a memory no one should face. Experts say such shock can cause lasting problems like nightmares, guilt, and detachment, needing years of care. As the investigation continues, the public mourns not just two lives cut short, but a family torn apart by violence born from unresolved hurt. The Brentwood home stands silent, a place of past happiness, now marked by blood and sorrow. Christmas lights dimmed everywhere as people reflected on fragility, how love can twist into despair when help falls short. Questions remain about exact motives, timing, and prevention, but answers may never fully ease the pain. In the end, this stands as the most heartbreaking conclusion to a story of hope, struggle, and a bond that could not hold against the storm. After the sudden deaths of Rob Reiner and Michele, singer Reiner, Hollywood fell into deep shock and mourning. Friends, stars, and family members shared memories of a couple known for kindness, talent, and strong family values. The tragedy left everyone searching for answers while grieving the loss of two beloved people. Tracy Reiner, the adopted daughter from Rob's first marriage, spoke first in a short interview with reporters. Her voice broke with emotion as she described the pain hitting too fast, leaving no time to prepare. She had seen her dad just days before, hearing his laugh and normal talks about life. No signs pointed to such a terrible end. Tracy called it unbelievable, saying she came from the most wonderful family and still felt total shock. Her words showed raw grief from a daughter losing the safe world she always knew. Tracy remembered Rob and Michele as perfect parents who put family first. Rob balanced big movies with daily care, teaching kids honesty, love, and strength after falls. Michele offered gentle support as a listener and pillar for everyone. They built a home full of laughter despite hard times. Talking about Nick hurt Tracy most. She said her parents loved him deeply, perhaps with more worry than others. They saw him as vulnerable, needing extra patience and hope. Even in tough years, they spoke of Nick with sorrow and dreams for better days. Tracy stressed they never stopped caring, always hoping he felt their love. The family released an official short statement through youngest daughter Romy, sent to Variety magazine. It carried heavy sadness, saying they felt deeply devastated by the sudden loss and asked for privacy in this hard time. Those few words showed immense grief from children losing both parents at once. Romy, a 28-year-old actress and writer, lived nearby and often visited for simple chats. She proudly called her parents her biggest inspirations. No one expected a normal stop-by to become a nightmare. Romy entered the Brentwood home and faced a scene no child should see, with her parents gone from knife wounds. Shock froze her as tears fell silently. Sources said she sat quietly crying, afraid noise would break her more. This moment caused deep trauma for Romy. Memories of her dad's warm smile and mom's gentle hugs now mixed with horror, clinging every moment. Experts explain such shock can bring lasting issues like bad dreams, guilt, or feeling detached, needing long support. The family gathered fast with Jake, Tracy, and close ones to help Romy through darkness. Everyone knows healing such wounds takes years, if possible at all. Friends noted Rob and Michele tried everything to help Nick through addiction, even making the movie Being Charlie together for understanding. Some progress came, but problems stayed under the surface. Tracy shared more about hidden family pain without blame. She said parents loved in their way, while Nick needed something different, like more presence or hugs not given in time. Silence after fights came from fear of pushing him away. They stayed confused but hopeful he would one day see their care. Tracy called Rob not perfect, but full of love for all kids, making the loss harder. The Notebook story from original reports did not appear in news, but regret over past choices echoed in family efforts. Hollywood tributes highlighted Rob's legacy in classic films, bringing joy, and Michele's quiet strength as partner, photographer, and producer. Stars like Billy Crystal, Larry David, and others called them inspiring and unselfish. The public mourned not just lives lost, but a family broken by unresolved hurt, addiction, and pain. Questions about motives or prevention linger without easy answers. The Brentwood home, once warm, now stands silent, marked by sorrow. As days pass, surviving children Tracy, Jake, and Romy face life changed, forever dealing with grief and scrutiny. This tragedy reminds everyone of life's fragility, even in successful families. Love and hope existed, but could not overcome the storm. Rob and Michele left timeless work and kindness, but their story ends in profound sadness. Friends hope for peace over time while justice moves forward. In the end, it stands as a heartbreaking close to years of struggle, leaving only memories, good and painful, behind.